Are you unknowingly destroying your own love every single day? Most men make deadly mistakes, slight emphasis, that turn them into weak, powerless figures, never truly respected by the women they desire. If you feel like you're constantly chasing a shadow, endlessly worrying about her approval, or worse, getting left behind without reason, then this is the harsh truth you need to hear. Firm, deeper. Your strength and attraction are being stolen bit by the very actions you think are love and care. Pause. It's time to face reality, stop wasting energy on things unworthy, and reclaim your true power in the game of love. Rising tone on reclaim. Because if you don't, you'll remain stuck in a cycle of insecurity and fear of losing the one you love, of a dry sinkler, a small, slow run of a big goal. Have you ever wondered why, despite your best efforts, your sacrifices and attempts to please and care for her, your relationship still falls short? Slightly questioning tone. Do you feel you're becoming more needy while she grows distant, indifferent, even dismissive of your efforts? Pause. This is no coincidence. It's the direct result of a bitter paradox few men dare admit. Slight emphasis. The more you try to please and show need, the less attractive you become, and the more power you lose. Firm and slow. Imagine a man constantly texting his girlfriend asking, "What are you doing? Why haven't you replied? Or do you miss me?" It's impossible. He thinks this shows love, but in her eyes, it's obsession, lack of control, and fear of abandonment. Slow, serious. Every message not answered immediately feels like a stab to his confidence. Slight emphasis. Every time he checks her stories dozens of times a day, he's silently saying, "Slower, your life matters more than mine." Pause. This is not an isolated story. It's a repeating script in millions of relationships. Slightly softer, we're taught that love is about giving, sacrificing, putting others first. But there's a very thin line between genuine care and toxic emotional dependence. Slow and serious. When you cross that line, you start losing yourself. And worse, you lose the respect of the woman you love. Firm, slightly slower. Do you recognize yourself in these examples? Pause, questioning tone. Do you spend hours analyzing every word, every gesture, every social media move of hers, wondering what she thinks or feels about you? She paused. Are you always the one to initiate text calls or plan every date? And when she doesn't respond as you expect, do you feel anxious, restless, or even angry? Rising tone at the end. Are you so afraid of losing her that you don't dare express your true opinions, set boundaries, or reject things deep inside you don't want? Pause. Do you feel below her in this relationship, always seeking approval, attention, or validation from her? Slow, serious. If you answered yes to any of these, you are trapped in the neediness trap. Pause. Firm. And here's why it destroys you and your relationship. Pause. Respect disappears. Have you ever wondered why, despite trying your best to please her and show care, all you get in return is indifference or even contempt? The answer lies here. When you are always the one begging for attention and approval, you degrade yourself. And this is the moment respect, the foundation brick of every lasting relationship, starts to waver and then completely disappears. Imagine this scene. You send her a message, but it never gets a reply. You begin to feel anxious, then send another message, a third one, maybe even a missed call. When she finally answers, perhaps with a curt reply or a flimsy excuse, you hurriedly reassure yourself that everything is okay. In your mind, you are showing care and patience, but in her eyes, you are showing desperation, dependence on her response to define your value. We often think that saving the situation by yielding, apologizing continuously, even when we are not at fault, or always being the initiator will keep the partner. But in reality, it is the opposite. When you constantly put yourself in the position of begging, you become an easy choice, something obvious, You become someone she can control, manipulate, or simply ignore. And when you become obvious, your value in her eyes will seriously decline. Great people in history have taught us about the value of self-respect. Confucius once said, "Respect yourself, and others will respect you." When you do not respect your own time, feelings, and value by constantly lowering yourself to beg for attention, you send a strong message to the other person: I am not worthy of respect. And it is no surprise when she begins to act according to that message. Look at relationships where mutual respect exists. You will see balance, clear boundaries, and both sides are independent. None of them are clingy or endlessly seeking approval. Instead, they are independent individuals, confident in their value, and thus attract respect from others. How to prevent respect from disappearing? It is when you show that your life does not revolve around her, that you have goals, passions, and a world of your own which she must strive to be part of. When you are ready to let go of control, when you accept the risk that she might leave but your life will still go on, that is when you regain your power and self-respect. She will no longer see you as obvious, but as a man worthy of admiration and desire, a man she must strive to keep. This is how to build a relationship based on true respect, not dependence or fear. You give your power to others. Have you ever felt like a lost ship at sea, but the steering wheel is in someone else's hands? Every time you open your phone and see a message from her, your heart beats faster and joy floods your being. Conversely, when she is silent, doesn't reply, or spends time with others, you sink into anxiety, sadness, even anger. This is not romantic love. This is the clearest proof that you are handing over complete control of your emotions and happiness to someone else. You become a puppet of your feelings, no longer the master of your life. Imagine a man dating a girl. She says she's busy and cannot meet this week. Immediately, he feels disappointed, even angry. He begins to speculate. Is she seeing someone else? Does she no longer like me? Throughout the day, his mood sinks into negative thoughts, his work is affected, and he can't focus on anything else. This is a typical example of letting emotions be manipulated. His happiness no longer belongs to him but depends entirely on another's schedule and reactions. Stoicism, an ancient philosophical school, emphasizes the importance of controlling what lies within our power. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, taught, "What lies within our power are opinions, intentions, desires, aversions. In short, all that is our own doing. What lies outside our power are bodies, possessions, reputation, power. In short, all that is not our doing. When you let your emotions rise and fall with every message, every glance, every gesture from her, you are placing your happiness in things outside your power. And that is when you lose inner freedom." Another example, you planned a romantic evening. She suddenly cancels at the last minute for an unclear reason. Instead of calmly accepting and adjusting your plan, you fall into a spiral of disappointment, questioning why, and perhaps start sending accusatory messages. In that moment, you allowed her actions to steal your peace. You gave her the keys to your happiness, and she can open or close that door at will. The master of his life understands that happiness is not a destination, but an internal journey. It does not come from how others treat you, but from how you choose to react to what happens. When you let your emotions be controlled by external factors, you will always be unstable. You become like a sailboat without a sail, pushed by the winds of life, never truly reaching anywhere. To regain power, you must realize that you cannot control others' actions, but you can control how you react. This is a journey of willpower training. When she does not reply to your message, instead of panicking, you can choose to focus on your work. When she cancels, you can choose to spend that time on yourself, your hobbies, or friends. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Remember, your greatest strength lies in mastering yourself and your emotions. When you stop giving your power away, you will become resilient, self-controlled, and naturally attractive. You will no longer be a puppet of emotions, but a steady captain of your life's ship. relationships become suffocating. Have you noticed that the more you try to tighten a relationship, the easier it slips away? That is because the pressure of your neediness makes her feel suffocated and controlled. Love, like a beautiful plant, needs space to breathe and free sunlight to grow. When you constantly demand attention, validation, or presence from your partner, you unintentionally choke that space, turning a potential relationship into an emotional prison. Imagine a man constantly texting, "Where are you? Who are you with? Why aren't you home yet?" It may sound like care, but it is actually a sign of distrust and fear. Or when she wants time for friends or hobbies, he gets sad, jealous, or even tries to persuade her to stay. Though unspoken, this behavior sends the message, "Your world must revolve around me." No one wants to be with someone who always demands attention or validation. Everyone needs personal space, other relationships, and individual activities to grow. When you become a shadow, clinging, or an anchor holding your partner back, you take away their freedom and independence. The truth is, your dependence will gradually push her away, making her seek space and freedom. Psychologists often talk about the importance of personal space in healthy relationships. Like two old trees growing tall together, their roots remain independent and seek their own nourishment. When you invade that space, you not only hurt your partner but also make yourself less attractive. She will not feel loved, but possessed. Albert Camus, the existential philosopher, once said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." This statement emphasizes the importance of finding wholeness and joy within yourself, not dependent on others. When you have an invincible summer in your soul, you do not need to drain energy from others, and you will not create suffocating pressure in your relationship. Instead, you become a positive source of energy, a steady support without demands. Think about times you felt tired or suffocated by a clingy friend or family member. That feeling is exactly what she will experience when you constantly show neediness. The relationship will become a burden, a duty, instead of a source of joy and support. To avoid turning your relationship into a suffocating one, you need to learn to respect the space and independence of your partner while developing your own life. When you have hobbies, goals, and other relationships outside your main relationship, you will no longer put the burden of your happiness on her. You will become more confident, independent, and paradoxically, it is that independence that will make her want to be closer to you, because everyone wants to be with someone interesting and free, not someone who constantly needs to be rescued or taken care of. You lose yourself. Have you ever looked back and realized you are becoming a faded version of yourself? Someone without goals, without passion, whose life revolves solely around another person? This is the biggest trap of dependence. When you focus too much on pleasing others, you forget your own goals, passions, and values. Your life gradually shrinks, revolving around her, and you slowly lose your identity, your unique self. Imagine a young man full of enthusiasm, with his own hobbies, a rising career, and a lively social circle. When entering a relationship, he starts skipping gym sessions, abandoning personal projects, and canceling outings with friends just to spend more time with his girlfriend. At first it seems that this sacrifice is an expression of love. But gradually, the girl realizes he no longer has interesting stories to tell, no plans to share, and his life becomes empty without her. He has turned himself into a satellite, only meaningful when orbiting another planet. A man without his own life or personal purpose will never create lasting attraction. True attraction comes from wholeness, from being an independent individual with unique value. Carl Jung, a great psychologist, once said, "Becoming an individual is the sole purpose of life." When you lose yourself in a relationship, you not only fail that purpose but also destroy the foundation of attraction. You can see this in countless examples. A man neglects his health and appearance because he believes, "She loves me for who I am." One gives up his startup dream for a stable job just to spend more time with her. Or someone always agrees with his partner's opinions, afraid to express his own to avoid upsetting her. Although these actions come from good intentions, they unintentionally erode their identity. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once emphasized, "Become who you want to become." When you stop growing and pursuing your own values and goals, You become boring not only to others, but also to yourself. Dependence on others to define your self-worth is a burden no one wants to carry. To maintain attraction and a lasting relationship, it is important to preserve and develop yourself. Continue chasing your passions, building your career, maintaining social relationships, and never stop learning. When you are a man with purpose and a rich life, you become more interesting, stronger, and infinitely more attractive. You don't need someone to complete you because you are already whole inside, and that wholeness is the magnet that attracts respect and true love. It's time to reclaim your throne. If the above words have touched you, if you see yourself in the story of neediness, insecurity, or fear of losing the one you love, then know this. This is not an article to blame or make you feel bad. Absolutely not. Our purpose is not to criticize past mistakes, but to understand them so that you can find a way out. This is a strong wake-up call, a bell to awaken you from the illusions of dependent love. Be honest with yourself. How long has it been since you truly felt whole? How long have you let your emotions be controlled by others, by things beyond your control? The pain of insecurity, lack of respect, or feeling abandoned that you are experiencing is not fate. It is the result of a chain of behaviors and thoughts deeply rooted in your subconscious. But there is good news, a liberating truth. You can totally change this. The loop of insecurity and fear can be broken. Your power, self-respect, and attraction have not disappeared. They are just obscured by the clouds of dependence. Now is the time to clear those clouds and let your true light shine. We will not stop at just identifying the problem. We will explore the core principles, the golden keys forged by philosophers and great thinkers over thousands of years. These principles will help you deeply understand that true power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. You will learn to stop blindly chasing, stop needing her like she is your oxygen. Instead, you will start a transformation journey to become a steady, self-controlled man whom every woman desires, not because you need her, but because you are admirable and worthy of respect. This is not a course on tricks or emotional manipulation. This is the path to rebuild yourself from the root. You will learn to build a strong frame, a core set of values and beliefs that cannot be shaken. You will understand why willingly enduring hardship and practicing self-discipline is the foundation of true attraction. And most importantly, you will learn to kill the child within, the part of your instinct that always reacts to fleeting emotions, to become a calm, composed man who always masters every situation. Imagine a future where you no longer worry about whether she will text back. A future where you are so confident in your value that whether she stays or leaves, your life remains complete and meaningful. A future where you lead as a man, with confidence and purpose, not with clinginess or control. Are you ready to face the truth, break old limits, and change your life? If your answer is yes, then seize this opportunity. Continue this journey with me, because what you are about to learn will completely change how you view love, relationships, and most importantly, yourself. This is the moment to reclaim the throne of your life.